Hey guys, it's another episode of the Zapp Comics Radio Podcast, and this is what I've been waiting to do for a while. I'm very passionate about this, and I like to debate and argue with people about this, which I think I've done with you all one-on-one over the time, so it's glad that you guys are all here. We got Jay Green returns.
I had a dream about you.
I know you did, and it was a very interesting dream via text message, which was kind of cool, but it was interesting.
It's exactly what you think, people.
We got Nick Minervini
Hey,
from
guys.
Zapp Comics. We got the Doctor, Jonny Knoll.
How's it going?
And he returned. Joe Ott's back.
What's happening, cuz?
How you doing?
All right, man.
Yeah, you ready?
Yeah.
Joe's so loud, he's on the other side of the room.
Joe's up by the register, and we're at the end of the bins.
He also said, "What's happening, cuz?" So he's broadcasting from 1997.
Nice.
Kicking it old
Nice.
school.
All right. I'm obsessed. I'm really bad at math, but I love numbers. I love stats. That's why I love baseball. I love, batting averages and home runs and OPS. I love all the stuff. I love box office numbers. I love the budgets. I love opening weekends. I love the daily breakdown. I love comparing movies to everything. But the thing about box office, it's like sports. You cannot really compare generations. And people are so obsessed with Avatar being number one all time. Get over it. It's okay because, it's a flawed system the way it's broken up. It doesn't mean it's the best movie ever made.
It could.
To some people it is. That's fine. I saw it. I didn't really like it, but I thought it was visually it was nice.
They
But
had blue aliens, and they had mech
it
suits.
was a very it was what?
They had that mech suit.
Oh, mech suit.
Yeah,
Okay.
the guy who looked like Duke
I know,
Nukem.
it sounded like you said Mexican.
That's what I thought you said. I was like, what?
Either way, it was good.
You're right, Fitz, don't
No,
worry.
but either way, I mean? I thought visually it was a beautiful movie, but the story has been told 1,000 times, which is fine. I don't really care. I mean, but I'm not upset it's number one. It made money. That's fine. $1 billion or $2 billion it's a lot of money. Like, people are obsessed with Avengers now because Avengers isn't worldwide. It's probably going to pass Avengers 1, but in the States it isn't. But you also have to look at competition. When did it come out? Because the weekend Avengers 2 came out, you had the Floyd Mayweather fight with Pacquiao, and you also had the Kentucky Derby, and then you had, NBA and NHL playoffs. So that and what weather was good, it factored into it. But and then 2 weeks later, Mad Max comes out in Pitch Perfect 2, so it hits it. So
Corey saw it like 6 times.
what, Avengers?
Perfect, too.
No,
Perfect
Pitch Perfect
two.
2.
I didn't even know what that
That's what you
is.
were saying.
I asked him Patrick. I said I have no idea what Pitch Perfect 2 is, but hey, it made money.
Sing songs.
So
You're Aka crazy.
what?
Exactly.
Okay. So, anyways, so you got to look at it when Avatar came out. It came out in the winter. Every weekend it did. It was never like a huge opening, but it just did the same amount every weekend for 4 or 5 months. E.T. when it was out for over a year. So the theaters changed. Ticket prices are ridiculous now. Jaws was the first $100 million movie, and that was 1975.
And back then, you only had 2 TV stations.
What does TV stations have to do with a movie theater?
You got to leave the house to get your entertainment.
Well, no, it was different back then. You couldn't get them
Well,
on DVD
yeah,
and
yeah. Well, no, that's what I'm saying.
There
There
was
was no movie channel
Yeah.
back in the day.
But the reason that movies stayed longer in the theaters too is because there were no megaplexes. Not only did you have 2 stations, you
Yeah.
had 2 theaters.
Yeah,
You had
exactly.
no theater, you had 2 theaters.
and they would keep in there what was selling.
Yeah.
That's why if you go to a little theater, like we have a small one down the street here, they only have the biggest movies. The little ones sometimes don't hit it. Or they don't last long. And I'm just people are so obsessed with the top 10 is changing. Yeah, but you can't look at the top 10 like that anymore because, for example, I think Star Wars Episode 7 is gonna be insane. It's gonna I think it's gonna hit top 2 billion, but there's gonna be 7 Star Wars movies. There's only 1 Avatar movie, so there's more of it. So you got to look at it like that. Avatar is like a soul being until they do sequels, obviously.
But also, like you were saying with Avatar wasn't. Wasn't a movie.
It's like an event. Everybody went saw it.
It was a 3D movie. It was the first really movie that was filmed for 3D. And I remember my parents went to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, because everything, and all people who wouldn't normally go see these movies went to see it because of the spectacle of it. Not that it was a good movie or whatever. And also, there was nothing at that time, which it still blows my mind that they don't know how to schedule these movies. It's a dead time and everything. It doesn't have to be a dead time.
Listen,
I
I hate now. You get a movie, and then 2 weeks later, a even bigger movie comes out, and they book the dates. They only have 2 weeks, and if they don't do that big number, they're screwed.
Well, again, because you had these multiplexes. Going back to it, remember when Jurassic Park came
Yes.
out, right? That was 1993. you really didn't have those megaplexes yet, right? So Jurassic Park come out, and 8 weeks later, it's still doing gangbusters. People, you go to the theater, and it's sold out. When was the last time you go to the theater and it's really sold out? That you can't. Okay, I go for the 8:40 show. Oh, well, there's also an 8:55 show, so that's not a problem there. And the theaters kind of killed themselves with that a little bit too, because theaters really didn't make money on the movies until after week 6. They would get 20% week 1, 2, and 3, and then it would grow 5-10% after each week like that. So now they've got to get as many people in as they can because they know it's going away.
Yeah, and like you said, they make that's why it's people complain and moan about like the pricing of concessions, but that's where the movie theaters make their money. And if that's gone, you're not gonna have movie theaters because like the studios get all the money from the movies. So even though you see these huge numbers, like a movie did $80 million this one day, the theaters aren't getting it. That's what they need: the popcorn, they need the soda. Now, I mean, if you go to the movie theater now, though, they have you can get anything you want. Back in the day, it was just like candy and popcorn. Now you can get like meals. You can get meals delivered to you.
Yeah, for $20.
Joe, have you said anything, Joe?
I'm waiting to jump in.
Jump in, man.
I didn't see
The water's
Avatar.
fine.
No, I'm not saying you're sorry, but I'm just saying people are mad it's number 1. It's okay. Avatar's number 1 and Titanic's number 2. It's
Don't
fine.
worry, I'm gonna get in there.
But if you
Those
look at
favorite movies
if you go to
Titanic.
inflation in ticket sales, actual ticket stubs Gone with the Wind destroys everything. Granted, it was released 1,000 times,
I've
but
seen that one.
I've never seen it.
Oh, are you kidding me?
I've never seen it.
Gone
It'll
with the
sweep
Wind?
you off your feet.
No, I never saw that.
You're just trolling me, man.
No.
You never seen Gone with the Wind?
No, I've never seen Gone with the Wind.
Have you seen Dances with Wolves? I was
Yes.
just- oh, wow. Okay.
I did. We field trip to school, 7th grade.
How'd you
Gone with-
feel?
Boring. It was boring.
We went to the Box Factory. You went to Dances with Wolves.
That we went to see what came up first, Robin Hood or Winds of Wolves, one or the other. They were like
Wait,
I think Dances with Wolves.
we saw Dance
yeah,
Wolf and then we went and saw Robin Hood later.
Nice.
My teacher was obsessed with Kevin Costner.
Yes,
I was gonna say I
No
understand
way.
Dances with Wolves, but where was Robin Hood in that scheme of
No,
history?
because
I love
we
Kevin Costner. Let's go,
we
kids.
went and saw. I don't know why the teacher.
Okay.
I don't know. She liked.
Kids
She
who want to
likes
learn
Kevin-
today, go to the movies. Go to the movies. Yeah.
She likes
This is all
Kevin
back.
Costner
That's
in
also
tights.
20 some years ago. So
You guys probably
Relax.
walked there or took horse and carriage.
Wow.
No, we took a bus. We took a bus. We didn't have cell phones though, Nick, or Netflix or, YouTube.
I know I got all these things while I grew up too. They didn't all come out by when I was a kid.
Of course they did.
No, they didn't.
What year were you born?
93.
You
So,
what-
but-
know
so
what
Brian,
did
you had a
come out
memory
when you
that-
were- you know what did come out when you were a kid? Clerks.
It did.
93. That was the year
Yeah.
Jurassic Park came
Yeah,
out.
I know. That's why it's my favorite movie. Good movie and a good child.
I saw that movie in high school.
Yep.
That was the year you were born.
Summer.
It's true.
Yes, it was summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a month old then, or a day old, whenever it came out.
I don't know, probably June or July.
No, so then I was probably a couple of
Did you
days
see?
old.
Did you see
in June.
Jurassic Park in the theater?
I did when I was a kid. Absolutely.
How old were you? 93.
9.
Oh yeah, you saw it.
Yeah.
You're old enough.
Yeah.
You
All
like
right,
it?
Right.
So focus on that a second, right? So you have Jurassic Park comes out in the theater. At that point, you had matinee tickets were maybe $5, and you had adult tickets were $7 to $8. Now you take that and you put that over a course of if Jurassic Park were to come out now.
$21, $22.
I mean,
IMAX
it's-
3D.
which is going to be it's going to be an IMAX, it's going to be 3D. So now you take that what it made, which I wish I knew. I don't know the box office numbers on it.
I think it's in the top
it's gonna
20
be-
as
gonna be
far
way
as
up there.
I think it's like 19 or 20 worldwide, without inflation, just as pure numbers. Jurassic Park was was huge.
I remember because when they advertised in the paper, and I remember
Yeah.
they had things to advertise, like not just for like the regular advertising, but like for the specific like theaters saying, oh, we're gonna have this, and you can buy like this is the first time like pre-order tickets.
It was the first pre-order tickets,
Yeah.
but it was also the first ever digital sound movie. This,
Oh, that was a big deal.
Jurassic Park was the first DTS movie ever.
Oh wow.
And I remember the theater I worked at, we had to specifically come in a month earlier, and they had to install these systems in there, and it was incredible.
It was a big. That's why I mean, I'm a sucker for Jurassic Park. I grew up with dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs. So
Came out before I was born.
two is not good, and 3 is like okay, but I love them.
2 is good.
2 is not good,
Yes, it
but
is.
I love them. I'll watch them all day
2
long.
is good.
I never seen 2.
Is
Not
2
worth
where the
it.
kid gets lost?
No, that's 3.
No, that's right.
2 is where
Two is this one.
Two is when they have the
Malcolm goes back and he's got his daughter hides in the
Gotcha.
bus.
No, I just get them confused.
Yeah.
and there's a little girl's apparently a gymnast and just does weird.
3 is
He
actually
beats up
a
a
continuation
rabbit.
of the first book, though.
Okay.
But now they're just I think just
They're
get
done
rid
with
of
the
the
one.
first. I think they just get rid of 2 and 3. This is like a sequel to
Yeah.
1. I don't care. I look at these movies differently. It's about dinosaurs in a theme park full of people. I don't care what happens. Just show me chaos. I'm not gonna break it down like this doesn't look. I don't care. I don't care.
But just to go with that, because the first one is that whatever island, and then the other one was the second island, the next two.
Yeah.
And then the fourth one is back to the original island. So it doesn't matter. Like you can, it's
Yeah,
still
they're-
separated. You know?
This new one is connected to the old ones. That was
No,
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 they're,
no.
they're you're gonna forget about 2 and 3,
okay.
and this
just
is gonna be
relates to
1.
Okay.
Basically, like it didn't work in the first one,
Yeah.
but they had a second like experimental island, and that's where 2 and 3 happened.
Got you.
And then the fourth one is people went back and they made it work, and they made
They actually were able to open the park,
They opened the
Oh,
park
okay.
and it was doing, but then people stopped going to it.
so they made it like
so
like
they
when dinosaurs
started-
eat dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and like
So they
know.
made like genetically engineered, like they put other animals.
Because
into
you
them.
know how it is with kids now, especially with technology,
Like
they
Nick-
get bored.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
really cool, and they get bored with it. Like after a week, so they're like, let's make our own bigger dinosaurs, and then of course, chaos
Shenanigans.
happens.
Got you.
How can I die easier?
Yes,
Let's
exactly.
clone more dinosaurs.
I remember at the end of the third one, they left you with them riding out in the helicopter and
Yeah,
that
and
pterodactyl
yeah.
making its way, like,
Yeah.
oh.
Well, the third one, when the boat crashes,
Yeah.
the T-Rex didn't eat them. Raptors did. The raptors are on them, and when they're falling asleep watching TV, you can hear them say, "There's another attack somewhere."
No, that's the second one.
Is that the second one?
Yeah, it's the second one.
That was supposed to be like.
Yeah. When the big ship brings the T-Rex and they get it back on the island, they said that the crew was all dead, but you don't know how it's dead because the T-Rex couldn't get in the cabin.
Yeah.
So raptors were in the boat. That's why the second one's good.
No, I didn't say it was. Most of it is
well.
bad, but I mean it's the one that it's hard to rewatch. The first one I can watch. I don't care, and I think I just spit on you. I'm sorry.
It came out June 11th.
You're dreaming of me, so I can spit on you all I
just
want.
rubbed me. So
Guys, this is a podcast, whatever this is.
But so, you go back to blockbusters. Of course, Jaws was the first $100 million movie, and then Star Wars dethroned it.
Yes.
And then it was like, I don't know if Close Encounters didn't do well, right?
no, Ghostbusters did not do well. In the
No.
first
Close.
one, please.
Well, but you
Probably
had
Empire,
E.T.,
you know,
E.T.,
E.T.,
Empire,
and then
Indiana
Return of
Jones.
the
but then
Jedi.
Star Wars, when it was re-released,
Yeah.
Passed it again.
Passed
So
it
it was
again.
kind of like a fun because they were that's when the movies like it became an event to go to the movies.
I agree that you you look at these numbers and okay, the last Transformers with Marky Mark it's like $400 million, whatever the hell it is.
Look at Iron Man 3. Iron Man 3 did over $1 billion, and people hate that movie.
It was great.
It was horrible.
I never saw it.
I don't think it was bad as as
enjoyed it.
people.
It was better than
Made it
Iron Man
sound-
I thought
2.
it was great.
Iron Man 2 was awful. That's why I didn't see 3.
I enjoyed
wait.
3.
Two's the one with Mickey Rourke.
Whiplash.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah. I didn't
was
like.
fun.
I could take or leave both of them. Number one was the best one.
One was
That
great.
was great.
But where I was going with that was you got to look at the success of the movie. If it cost $200 million to do and it made $300 million,
It's a loss.
it's not that it's a loss,
No, but
it's
to
not,
them
it's,
it is.
It's not the success that it should have been. But then we were talking about earlier, you got Kevin Smith, who I know you love, with all your heart. You might have rubbed him. He comes out and puts with his credit card. He maxes out at $20,000 and he makes Clerks, right?
That's a Cinderella story right there, man.
And it makes, I'm sure somebody's listening to this is going to, spam me for not knowing the number, but it makes $10 million, $15 million. That's a win.
Yeah, of
right?
course it is.
You get the Blair Witch Project would suck to high heaven.
$500.
But again, they made it
camera
for like what, $25,000, and it made over $100 million.
Yeah.
And it spawned an industry.
Yeah, and it's right. It did.
Literally.
It really did. Those are successes. Those are the ones that have to.
Well, if you get a big comedy, that's where the money is, because all you're really paying is for the talent. You're not paying for CGI and all that stuff like that. That's why.
That's why theaters love. That's why the studios love Adam Sandler.
Yeah, and that's why if you look at like the animated movies, I feel so bad when they don't do well because it takes them like 5-6 years to make it, and the budgets on these movies are like $100, $200, $300 million, and then they just don't they make like $80 million. It's a loss. But if you look at internationally now, because China and Japan are really getting big with the movie industries, like How to Train Your Dragon 2 did really bad here, but it killed overseas. It did like 600 something million just overseas. So like Ice Age is huge overseas. It does Toy Story numbers. So they keep making new ones. Here it's like it does okay. And people don't realize if you see the budgets like Avengers 2 for example, The budget is $250 million. Like, oh wow, it's already at like 1.1 billion. No, it's got to do both double that to get its money back, because you got to factor in, marketing and promotional and all that stuff like that, and then the teaser trailers and
paying Robert Downey Jr.
But not just that though. If say I buy a comic book for $1,000, I sell it for $1,100. That's not like a win. It's a easy flip, $100, whatever. But if I buy a book for a box for a quarter book, and it turns out to be like a $500 book, that's more exciting.
I also think you have to really look at after the theater, right? Billy Madison. Billy Madison comes out in the theater. It does nothing. Austin Powers comes out in the theater. It does
that
nothing.
movie's bad.
But then they come out and all of a sudden it starts gaining momentum, word of mouth. People are renting it. This is when you could rent movies. They're renting it, and bam! It explodes.
Not just that, you got like TBS and FX. They prepay for these movies like 5-10 years ahead of time and say, I want your next 2 movies, and they already paid for it.
Successes.
Look at Seinfeld. Seinfeld just going on Hulu. It's like $750,000 an episode just to get it. Just to get it. There's 9 seasons, 180 episodes.
Yeah, it's
That's ridiculous.
Quick math, everybody.
Yes. So like they're going back to the box office numbers and the chart. You can't look at it like, I'm not even knocking the movie. I'm not a Fast and the Furious. I saw the first one. I didn't like. I'm not into cars.
The last one.
I'm sure it was good.
I'm not into cars, bro.
It's crazy.
But excuse me?
Sorry. You're like, I'm not into cars.
I'm not into cars. It bores me.
You get into one every day, I'm just...
Don't touch me.
Oh, it's not nice when somebody else does it.
It's not nice when someone makes fun of you.
No, what I was saying though, like, I saw the first one, and I was like, whatever. But like, this movie was like, and the thing too is, I love how you got all these like haters saying, Paul Walker, nobody cared, now all of a sudden he died. Dark Knight would not have made anywhere near that money if Ledger didn't die.
He's going there.
Ledger died. Listen, that movie.
Someone died.
Yeah, he
We're
died.
not back now.
No, listen.
About that.
Ledger died, and he nailed the role, and everybody went crazy for that movie because Batman Begins did not do that well. Batman Begins was a nice little movie, and then
it wasn't.
yes, it was. It wasn't.
Batman Begins was good.
It didn't do that well.
Mason, bro.
That's the only good part.
Anyways, Batman Begins did it was decent.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they cast Ledger. Everybody's losing their mind the same way they're losing their mind now with Jared Leto, saying, "Oh, he's not."
Jared Leto died?
No, how are they going crazy about the Joker? How he can't? How he just broke back mountain. A lot of people were really upset when he was doing.
And aside, Corry loves that movie.
I've never seen it. I heard it's really good though. But anyways,
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it at all, but it's
no, I have no problem with it. I'm just saying he just came off that. There was a lot of controversy on it, which is stupid. Who cares? It's a movie, and I'm sure what's the matter? So, but you have Ledger, who nobody knew who he was. He was, what was that, Knight's Tale?
Hey, Knight's Tale's a good movie.
No, he was in 10 Things I Hate
Yeah,
About
but
You.
but people like, how dare he filled his shoe? The shoes of Jack Nicholson, who to me is an awful Joker. Awful.
See, I like.
He's just being Jack Nicholson, painted in white.
That's what's great about
No,
it.
it's
He
not.
makes his money.
He's not being the Joker.
So you don't like Christopher Walken in anything?
No, I mean Christopher Walken. No,
You don't like more cowbell?
That's fine. But I'm just saying, like, anyways, what I'm getting to is when Dark Knight came out, Ledger died, okay, which is awful, but nobody had seen what he did as a Joker, and he nailed the role. It exploded, and that was like the thing to do is see this movie. It's the same thing happened with the Paul Walker thing, okay? From some people get like, because if you look at the other Paul Walker movie that came out, nobody went to go see it. The one he was like a
Brick Mansions.
McMansion. So
That
It's
came
based
out
off
after
I'm
of-
he
just
died.
saying,
based off of
hype
French
has something to
free
do with
running
it. I'm saying it's awful that these guys died,
French one's good.
and they were both good actors. I'm just saying it gets
Well,
hype.
sometimes,
The
yes,
hype gets
it
into
does.
it.
When they're like, "Oh, this was their last."
And
film,
Dark
whatever,
Knight
and-
only hit $1 billion because they re-released it in IMAX like a half a year later in the next summer to get that extra boost.
I think Dark Knight was going to do the money anyway.
No, it didn't. It had already stopped. They re-released it
No,
in
but
IMAX.
what I mean is, I think Dark Knight still would have been a blockbuster.
No, it was a
really would have done
blockbuster. I'm
more.
not
Same
saying
thing
it
with
wasn't.
Fast and the Furious 7.
I'm
Yeah,
just
it did
saying
more
when-
because people wanted to see Paul.
See it. And I get it. Listen, I didn't see it, but I understand why people see it. You get into it. Listen, when we were in school, Brandon Lee died with a crow, and I was first in line to see that movie.
Yeah,
Such a
it did
good
make
movie.
people.
That movie was great, but I mean, everybody knew what it was. It was supposed to be like a little
But that
film.
was a little different because people wanted to see the scene he died in. Remember,
Well, they didn't put it in the theater. The family got that destroyed.
Good for
But
them.
I didn't
don't
like
want
the crow.
I love the crow. The first
Fine.
one. The other ones are garbage.
I've never seen any other ones. Joe, you like The Crow, right?
This guy loves Jurassic Park. He hates Super Dinosaur, man. Unbelievable how you go figure.
What are you talking about? We're talking about the Crow. Did you ask you if you like?
I know, but I wanted to say that. 'cause
Super
before I forgot
Dinosaur?
it.
Really?
Sorry, I was like.
We used to
10
get
minutes ago.
one copy here, and guess who bought it? You.
Unbelievable. Yes, I love The Crow. Good movie.
And not one person.
Better
would-
soundtrack.
Oh, that soundtrack's great.
Come on now.
Soundtrack's great. That's another thing about movies. They don't have great soundtracks anymore.
Judgment Night.
Judgment Night, Last Action Hero, which was awful movie, great
Great
soundtrack.
soundtrack.
That was a fun movie.
The Crow, the fun movie. Johnny,
No,
what is wrong with you?
Last Action Hero was horrible.
Going
It's
from the thing and
awful.
they had all they brought all the villains
That was
out.
one of the biggest bombs in history of
No,
box
I think
office.
movies still have good soundtracks. They don't. Soundtracks don't sell anymore.
No,
Now it's
I
more
know.
about scores too than it
Right.
is soundtrack. Now
Yeah.
it's like you've
But
got
they're-
like epic orchestras doing what was the movie that had it? The one with the black holes. Didn't that ever?
Oh, Interstellar.
Interstellar.
That was a
that had
great
an amazing
Great
score.
You
Yeah.
know, but the scores are fine, but they're not memorable. It's not like Superman.
No,
you
no,
know,
but-
it's Superman.
But the
Indiana Jones,
difference,
you know, it's like
the difference is no one goes out and buys CDs or iTunes of orchestras playing.
You know, I gotta tell you, my niece now lives in a world where she only knows Trent Reznor as an Academy Award winner.
Yes, she does.
And I'm completely okay with this.
Yes. It's great, man.
yes.
His last album,
She
not
likes
too
to
much,
sing
but
Bicycle from Queen. Yeah,
she sings Bicycle?
yeah, Bicycle. But
Nice.
Um,
My daughter's obsessed with Teen Titans Go.
We're talking about musical.
I'm just we're
Yeah,
talking about kids.
that's a whole other podcast.
Talking about kids, man.
I don't have any kids.
Because you are a kid.
Because you were born in '93.
Got my youth. That's all that matters.
You never saw a movie that wasn't digital.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
Yeah, no, that was
Yeah,
still
VHS.
Yeah, it
I
was.
guess.
Oh.
I mean, in the theater.
Yeah.
Nah, they were all stuff. Only digital's only been about.
do you
10
remember
years.
like to,
Yeah.
And he's what 11? So I mean, he's
Yeah, I
good.
guess.
to get like film
You guys are
time?
just mad. Everything hurts, and everything on me still works fine.
Do you remember? Did you ever have to look in the newspaper to find the times?
Yeah, all the time. That used to be my job when my dad was too lazy.
Did you ever look? Did you have to look inside a TV guide to see what time a show was on?
Yeah. I had to do everything. When your parents don't want to do it, there's always a young little middle child named Mike
To
do it
be
for
fair
you.
though, your dad just got his first email like a week ago.
Yeah.
So I can see your house being
I'm sorry, Dad.
a little behind.
Throw 'em under the bus.
Yeah.
Well, we got my first computer in like '99, I think, and we had to switch our phone line because we still had rotary dialing. You know what that means?
Yes, I had one.
But no, we had a touch tone phone, but
Yeah.
it still had the rotary thing. So when you hit the buttons, you would have to wait, and you could hear they go. So when my parents called to cancel it, they didn't know what to do because I literally think there was the last home on existence that still had that, and they had to find out how to shut it off because we couldn't use
Somewhere in the record
AOL.
book, the
We
last
couldn't use
house.
AOL without it. 'Cause
Yeah.
if we ever called the place and said press 1, we couldn't because they wouldn't register it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very frustrating. Back in the day.
Remember that?
Back in the
Like if you screw up, you had to like
Hang it up and do it
start
again.
all over again.
Yes.
It took forever.
One thing I hate about cell phones now, when you're really mad at someone, you can't hang up on them.
Yeah, you
There's
can.
something good about slamming the phone down.
Yeah, just sell your phone.
Yeah, then you
how many
have a
times
$5
I
phone.
do that
Beep. You know what I mean? It just Joe, will you talk?
I'm watching you talk.
No,
I feel like Patrick's
no,
here.
What you do, it's very simple. When you hang up on someone, you text them immediately. I hung up in anger.
Okay.
Well, you
put a
tell them
frown
before you're.
on
I'm about to
emoticon.
hang up with you angrily.
Give the poo of Mordecon, door.
As far as the box office, though, Jurassic Park obviously changed things, just similar to Star Wars and Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
What does that sound?
I think
Someone's
I
trying to
I
like
think
bust
someone's
into Zapp
revving up
Comics
a
to get the
moped.
wall books.
Sounds like
It
a
sounds like
moped.
somebody's like,
No, someone's gonna run in here and go, "You want to see my new chainsaw and hockey mask?" That's exactly what it sounds like. It's a big chainsaw.
you know, but I love seeing the numbers. I love seeing like these big opening
Oh,
weekends.
yeah, it's
and-
fun to it's fun to see. And,
But it's hard to compare them because there's different competition.
Mm-hmm.
There's different time when they're released. You know, the Memorial Day weekend and stuff like that. I was always amazed how movies do more in the summer because I like seeing movies in the winter when it's cold out. But people just like staying home.
They do that is because it's with the teenage. That's when they,
Yeah, the
they put the
teenage.
thing is like when they think that's when they're going to go see them.
Kids are home from college, schools
Out of
are out.
school.
Not to mention camps.
Yeah.
You got day camps that go all the time, especially when it rains. I mean, it's
You get it.
it's big then. And you talk about Star Wars Episode 7 coming out. It's going to do great regardless. But if you look at what's coming else out within the 2 weeks before, like the week before, and then the 3 weeks after, There is nothing.
No, they moved movies because of it.
It's just everyone has relented. This is what's going to be out. So you're going to get people going 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
Listen,
Oh,
as
I'm
much
gonna
as
look
I
at-
hated episode 1, I think I saw it 6 times in the theater.
That makes
Well, you know
sense.
what? It was like I remember I saw it a couple times too, and I think it was the first time I was so excited about seeing it, and then only after a couple times did I finally come to that realization. Wow, this is not a good movie.
But you know what it is though? When I watched we've seen Star Wars, all the other Star Wars movies so much, you don't watch them. You like looking in the background for like a Easter egg or like oh my God, there's a where's that cameo of Bosk or whatever. I'm not watching the movie like. So I did that with episode 1. I wasn't really paying attention to the film. I'm like looking around like I want to see something that's from the throwback. And then so when I finally like saw it for the 3rd time, I'm like, this movie's awful.
But also with the episode 1 was at least it was like really they didn't have the midnight showing yet.
No.
Like not common because I went. It was the opening, but it was like at 6 in the morning, and we had
Yep.
tickets.
You went that morning.
And it was down in New Brunswick with the Lowe's 18, which I don't even still
That's where I
open.
went, on Route 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was like 8 million theaters and like there was lines of people going in and stuff. And it was just to be there and the excitement and everybody's going there and seeing Star Wars.
And see everybody coming out going, oh.
What the hell's a bit of
Did you see episode 1?
Yeah, of course.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Really?
Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I mean, I was pretty young when it came. I thought it was cool. I was easily
saw the
blowing
same
mine
Phantom
at that
Menace,
point.
right?
How old were you?
Well,
We saw the same Phantom Menace,
yeah.
right?
Well, I'm not like a diehard Star Wars fan, so I don't.
You're a human, right?
Yeah.
You appreciate cinema, don't you?
No, listen, I like bad movies too. So I mean, there's some movies just enjoy them. How old were you?
What
It was
year?
99.
99. 15.
You weren't that young. Did you have a beard?
No.
Okay.
I didn't really have too much hair at all, bro.
So going back to this now, I'll tell you what. How much does the box office actually mean now? Because now you've got the movie Maggie just came out, right? Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
They released it in the theaters, but they also released it on demand at the same time. So, is that getting counted into the box office?
Well, it's kind of like
Probably not.
That seems counterproductive.
Well, it's like
I'd
it's
watch
like
that.
it's
Not
like
really.
it's like TV
because-
ratings now because you have DVR ratings and the +1 and all that other stuff. You can't. It's hard to. It's not as. It's very. And back in the day too, like Nick said earlier, with only a couple of channels, everybody watched like the MASH final. Like nowadays, there's too many channels. You don't
have
you
to.
don't have to anymore.
It was
You still get it with certain things. I'm sure the Mad
Yeah.
Men finale did amazing numbers. The Walking Dead finales always do amazing. So there are still shows people are watching live, or
Yeah.
at least close to live. But yeah, like Maggie. So I'm sure it probably did 50-50. I would imagine. Even it might have even done more on demand. Believe it or not. So how does that get factored?
Well, especially
right?
with your home theaters being like customized and you can make a theater in your home now. So they're toying with it's going to be expensive, but you can get the movie this day it comes out in your home. Like a major
Right,
release,
so then let me ask you a question. So
like a pay-per-view almost.
you've got a wife and a kid, and what's that? Inside Out comes out, right? And
Inside Out. What is that?
that's the
The
new
new Disney
new
Dirty.
Oh yeah,
Pixar
yeah,
movie.
with the
with the
Pixar, with
emotions.
the minds. Yeah, okay.
No, that's Inside Out.
The
and Minigun.
emotions.
So Inside Out comes out. Now you have the opportunity to take your daughter and take your wife to the local theater, and now you got to buy popcorn, now you got to buy the soda and whatever. You're gonna,
I'm staying home because my daughter won't sit through it.
Well, that's it. So now you're going to spend probably $50 between the three of you to go.
More than that.
Or you're going to spend $50 at home. You're going to buy the microwavable popcorn and whatever. And if your daughter gets up and runs around, she's running around. You don't care so much. So,
No, I would do that in a heartbeat. I mean, I took her to see Big Hero 6. She sat through almost all of it before she got it. But I didn't mind. It was the middle of the day, like on a Sunday. It was only got other 2 or 3 families, and they're doing the same thing. We did the same thing with SpongeBob. She made it like halfway through that. So, but I'm not going to take her to go see a legit movie because not only that is that there's like, even though the movie says it's going to start at 8:30 or whatever,
Yeah, it's
You gotta
the-
have
yeah.
that.
there's still 15-20 minutes of previews.
Well, that's what like Joelle took Scarlet see Cinderella, the live action one, and she sat for most of it except for the end. Joelle said she would have sat through the whole thing
If it's
except
previews.
it was those extra.
Well, that was
previews
what
at the
I did
beginning.
wrong. Is we sat her down, we gave her the popcorn, and she was eating it. But 20 previews later, the movie started. She was halfway through the popcorn.
Everybody's got to learn. If you go a half hour late, you got there just in time.
then you might not have a seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're sitting up like this up
Well, see,
front.
now that's a funny piece too, right? Because it was actually around Jurassic Park time. So when theaters started going, okay, we've got the multiplexes out, we got to figure out how to make more money, right? Because movies aren't lasting as long. they started. If you remember, they started putting actual commercials
Yes.
before the previews. They were such an uproar. People were screaming that they took about a year, but they ended up stopped doing the commercials because you had all these commercials. People were like, I'm paying for this movie. I don't. Trailers, people didn't care about. People love the trailers. Love the.
I love
previews.
seeing trailers in the
Because
theater.
trailers is the one time you get to be a movie critic. You can automatically at the end of it, you're
let
like,
me-
that
all
stinks.
right, but
That's great.
Let me ask you this, right? The trailers are great too, but now you used to go into, oh, that looks awesome. Oh, it looks awesome. It looks awesome. And now I'm sitting there and I haven't done it. Oh, I saw that on YouTube already. Oh, I saw that on YouTube.
Yeah.
Trailers are not a surprise.
No, and
anymore.
not just that. Trailers now show you the movie. Trailers used to be like a teaser. What's coming out now? You can almost figure out the whole movie by the trailer, and I hate that.
But they've been doing that for a while.
I know, but
I
it's
remember,
it's
like,
pretty
since
it's
the
pretty blatant
90s,
now though. They're like
they-
I
remember, what is it? The Men in Tights, and they put like it was the entire movie was in the thing, and it was just like, okay, all the.
Well,
funny
Wayne's World
stuff-
too. All the funny parts were in the trailer. I saw the movie. I'm like, this is. I just saw these 5 parts. The only funny 5 parts. The first movie was great. No?
So I mean, so it's like now the trailer's like, all right, now I'll see this again. Okay, it's fine. It doesn't mean anything.
You were saying before about with the things about how not to compare, and I was just thinking too. Do you remember when they used to do like for box office? It was the weekend, and they used to do Memorial Day weekend because they had that extra day.
Yep.
But every time they keep adding, and the release date was then it became like instead of Friday, it became Thursday, and then they put it to
Why
Wednesday.
is it? Why wasn't it Wednesdays anymore? Did they change? They changed it.
They used to have
They used-
Wednesdays for the summer.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it was for camps to get that extra piece in. Plus, they also had a lot of movies coming out, so it's just ways for Sony's coming out with movies. They could stagger releases too. I don't know if they are. I'll be honest with you. I don't
Well,
really
they
know
do.
if
Well, it's just to give that.
Well,
opening
which is a
weekend
lot of people don't
boost.
know. Your generation
Yeah.
doesn't know this, Nick.
What's
Is
up?
it maybe not even you? Comic books used to come out on Fridays.
Didn't know.
Fridays were the big comic book day. I remember
wow.
you gotta get paid, and it would come, and they changed it to Wednesday, and I was like mad.
Well,
But it's because they want to get you in. Now the only days that are kind of like fluff days are Mondays and Tuesdays because you get new release on Wednesday. You get people they're gonna come on Friday, Saturday anyways, and Sunday. Well, that's why CDs and movies
Tuesday.
come on Tuesday.
no,
Yeah.
not anymore.
Not any-
No?
DVDs just changed. They're now on Fridays.
Everything's
About
on.
Really?
2
They're
months
getting us
ago.
It's different now
payday,
because you know
man.
why? Because nobody buys DVDs anymore, so they can afford to do that.
What's it?
DVDs used to be a draw.
I don't know because where is this? Because I still did on Tuesday.
No, DVDs are now they're now Friday. New
This
movie
was,
releases now on Fridays.
I haven't bought a DVD. I don't know how long. The last DVD I bought was for my daughter, and she bought Big Hero 6, and it was on a Tuesday. But that was a few months ago. I don't know.
It might just be for digital the digital release now on Fridays. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I think
they're
'cause-
starting to make them on Friday. move it
Because
to
the
Friday,
regular
so.
ones, the actual things, 'cause I do all the time with the Tuesday, and it's still Tuesdays for the DVDs.
Mysteries. No one will ever know.
Joe,
DVDs are what's known as
what do you-
physical
I
media.
know what I was around when VHSs were a thing. I used to have to rewind stuff. A kid came in and there's a box with Pokemon on it, and the kid was like, "Oh, can I see what's inside?" I'm like, "Sure, but open it up. It's filled with VHSs." He's like, "What are these?" I looked at him like I had 8 heads, and I'm like, "Buddy, you made me feel really old. They're VHSs.
Well, it's funny.
What are those? You watch movies on them, kid."
I'm packing up my apartment to move, and I went through a bunch of things, and I threw out 3 VCRs. One, why did I have a VCR? Why did I have 3 of them?
Yeah, were you worried that the other 2 were gonna break? So you
Well,
never-
what broke my heart when I moved, my wife and I moved in together before we got married, is I had all my stuff in storage, and I threw away like 8 huge boxes of VHS tapes, like brand new movies. But I'm like, what am I gonna do with them? I'm not gonna transfer them to DVD. It's cheaper just to buy the DVD, and the quality's not gonna be as good. I know. How Joe? How old are you?
30.
You're 30 years old.
Yeah.
You had a VHS player?
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
Do you remember when VHSs, when home movies and owning them wasn't really like fiscally responsible thing to do, and if you really wanted that movie, it was like $99 to buy it from Blockbuster. This is before you could get them, at the 7-Eleven and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
ridiculous.
I remember even if you broke it or something happened to it, they would charge you like 180
Or
bucks.
remember
whatever it was.
calling a Blockbuster again and again to see if they have the movie
Oh my
in
God.
throughout the day.
Waiting for someone to drop it off
Yes.
right in the return.
Do you have Jurassic
get
Park
it
in?
yet? Did
No.
you get
Do you have
Ghostbusters
Jurassic
2
Park?
yet?
No.
Need to see Ghostbusters 2 again right now.
Well, to get a new movie, like for the new movie to come out, it took forever.
Yeah,
Like
I know it took
before,
months,
like it
6
goes
months.
out and like it's
Yeah.
out, but now,
Yeah.
but then,
Especially if the
it would
movie
take
does
forever.
bad, it comes right out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like E.T. took like forever to come out on VHS, and it was like years later when it
And
finally.
even
came.
then, it was just rentable.
Yeah.
We
You
weren't
couldn't
we were
buy
not
them.
buying it.
Yeah, there was no like you couldn't go to like a. Back then we had like Bradley's. They didn't have like a movie section like Target. Target was the first store I really saw in Walmart that like they really had like a section, for movies. Cause we used to get that Columbia House. Remember Columbia House when you would order the
Yeah,
CDs?
those
Brilliant.
things.
Do you know about Columbia House?
I think I remember coconuts.
No.
Columbia House is a mail order.
Dude, and the promo was like
6 CDs for a penny.
6 CDs for a penny, and then after that they had so many deals though. It'd be like, this month pick as many CDs as you want for $2.99 each, as long as you order 10 of them. Yeah. But if you got a house full of people, it'd be like me and my dad and my mom. I'd be like, all right, we're all getting 5 CDs. Pick them. The bill was like $20. You know, how could you go wrong?
It was awesome.
Oh, man.
I got so many libraries from that. Cause I would order every Sex Pistols CD or whatever. I would bulk up on them because I don't want to go buy them on their own.
I just remember Blockbuster, Coconuts,
Sam Goody.
Sam Goody
was great.
FYE. FYE was around for a while. There's one open in a mall down in South Jersey. I walked inside and I looked at the lady and I go, I'm not in a time warp, right? She's like, what? I'm like, this is an FYE, right? She's like, yeah. I'm like, that's so cool.
Now the best part about the wall is they gave you the wall sticker.
Yeah, so it's lifetime guaranteed.
Lifetime guaranteed. Put it on there and snap it.
The wall was the first place I went to where they had a computer, and it was like not touchchscreen, but it had a keyboard, and you could look up albums, and it would show you the album cover.
Yeah.
I remember looking for these.
The Dewey Decimal System.
Oh my god!
I used to spend...
Mind you, they're older than me.
Yeah, but you're my boss.
I know, but
how old are you?
I'm 38.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's calling me old, but you guys are older than me. I'm like in the middle here. I'm the middle man.
No, you're 38,
Yeah.
and when's your birthday?
April. I just turned 38.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you look older.
Zapp Comics Radio Podcast, folks. We keep it real.
You don't give me my own intro theme song? This is what you get.
I didn't. Joe's going to write it. You got to tell Joe.
No, he wants like an intro, like a wrestling thing, or when you say his name, he gets the music.
I don't come on that often. When I do, it's an event.
I tell you what, next time we're on, we'll at least clap for you when you come on, okay? Does that make you feel better?
No, Crazy Train.
Crazy Train.
That's too much to ask Crazy Train. You
Clap
pop
for
it
the
in there
Wolfman.
for him.
Clap
Come on.
for the Wolfman.
Bling, bling.
I think Paradise City is more your song. I can see you bouncing down to Paradise City.
I want Freebird. That's what I want.
You can have it.
It's like when you die, you get that. Not when you're alive. Come on, man. You don't want that, man. That's an omen, bro.
Come on. No, but video stores, that actually made movies feel special, too, because now you're like, oh, yeah, I'll get you a copy. Here you go. You know, like, oh, you didn't see Hobbit yet? Here you go.
On trees now.
No, it's like, you know.
I remember we used to try copying them, and the tracking would be all.
Yeah, but we didn't care. We'd watch it. You know.
You knew you watched the VHS too many times.
You remember
the
pay channels were scrambled on you, and sometimes
the pay channels.
The pay channels.
The pay channels.
and you could see them. Like sometimes you could
Like it
late
would
at
be
night.
very scrambled very well.
Yeah.
2 a.m. going in the parasuit. I can see that.
I remember getting up in the
No.
morning and the TV was off. You had to wait for the national anthem or to come on at 6 o'clock in the morning with the flag.
If you timed
TV
it,
signed off.
If you timed it right between movies on the pay channel, you would get about a minute and a half of previews for what was coming up next.
All you needed.
Unscrambled.
Okay.
Unscrambled.
All you needed.
13-year-old kid didn't need much more.
The days before the internet.
Jay Green, everybody. That is your intro right there.
Original hacker.
You can see the grin on his face now. No, but the TVs would shut off. It would sign off. There was nothing on.
Yeah.
Before cable, there was nothing on.
Yeah, the
Dang,
color
you guys are
bars.
old.
Yeah, you had the color bars, and then at 6 o'clock in the morning,
Well, I don't know. I mean,
you'd have the thing.
see, I don't remember for all
I do.
this.
Oh yeah.
See, it might have been
Corey
different.
actually lived another life where he was.
No, I remember that. I remember waiting because I would get up to record the Fantastic Four cartoons because that's the only time they were on. I would record them from the Hanna-Barbera. I remember sitting there waiting.
Well,
eating
the other thing
breakfast.
too, when you had a VCR, you could only record a max of 10 different stations.
Or if a tape was full and you didn't know and someone left it in there. Or you
That's,
taped over someone's stuff. God.
that's why you broke the chip on the top of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See, now you know. Now you can go. You know.
Steal things on VHS. Well, vinyl's coming back. VHS will too.
VH will
No,
never
VHS
back
is
because the
never
quality's
coming
not.
back.
The quality's
VHS
awful.
Well,
never
you know what's
coming
funny is vinyl's back. I would say
yeah,
vinyl's
yeah.
back. Cassettes are starting to make a comeback.
Yeah. It's
So why is that?
Indie bands, it's so easy for them
And
to
it's cheap.
record. It's
You know what's
cheap.
not easy? Finding something to play the cassette on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
I have
and Guardians helped that
multiple
too.
If my wife was to let me get rid of it, I never did.
Do y'all sell the Guardians tape here at Zapp or no? I think they released
Yeah,
that.
they
right?
did.
Yeah, it was like a limited edition thing
Okay.
now. You know, but I think the soundtrack itself it went gold or platinum. I remember it did well.
Well, now every CD that comes out comes in vinyl, and now they made like designed vinyl where it's like splash.
Oh, it's cool. I mean,
Yeah,
they're
no,
collectible.
awesome.
It's like comic books.
You know
There's
what's
still a
funny?
niche to it. It's collectible.
I love what Amazon does with this. I mean, if you're gonna buy stuff at Zapp Comics, but you know, if you're gonna go to Amazon, I buy an album, right? I buy it on vinyl, and they also automatically put into my account the MP3s of it all. So I've got it, so I've got the vinyl I can listen to, but now I've also got the other piece I can put on my phone. Yeah, it's great.
Well, the only caveat with that is my mom wanted the new Josh Groban CD for Mother's Day.
It's a great album.
Typical mom gift, right?
Yes, she wanted it, whatever.
Everyone
yes,
loves Josh.
so
Everyone's
now
mom loves
I
Josh
own the
Right,
digital copy of Josh Groban. It's like, wow,
Congratulations.
Come
It goes
on.
along
He's
with,
got a
with
nice voice.
it goes along with Joe Ott's Hannah Montana wallet.
Oh my god, that's when no one steals it. No one would steal a Hannah Montana while on the floor, right?
Can I
Like,
see
oh,
it?
look
Not
at
from a
that.
guy wearing a Dwar sweatshirt.
I don't
Yeah,
have it.
he's into some weird stuff, boys.
No, he's coming on. Joe Ott coming on Wednesday with his Hannah Montana wallet. I'm like, and he's like, dude, if I drop this, nobody's checking this thing for money. I said, you know what? You get a point.
True story. I had a couple $100 cash.
No, but they are searching for the missing little girl.
I dropped it in the parking lot when I was on tour with the band. We found it about an hour later, completely untouched, like in the middle of Atlanta, you know? If that was a big black leather wallet, we never would have found it, but because it looked like a little kid's wallet, we were like, no one's going to touch that, you know? It's just sad.
A list of
It
people
looks
like, oh, is that guy dropped it?
The best is it's
Where's
Joe.
the little girl, Joe?
No, Joe. You know, Joe's got the deep voice, the beard, a Gwar sweatshirt that he wears every time
Every
I see
day.
him. Every day, and he's got a Hannah Montana wallet. That's what the best part is, Joe.
Can we talk about 2015? I have something to ask you guys about. Avengers, midnight showings. I went to the theater, and the day before...
Yeah, and I saw you spoiled it on Facebook, and you made a lot of people angry.
Yes, that was good. That was good times, right? So I noticed when I was looking at the times to buy tickets, I was like, okay, I need a Red Bull or some serious coffee culotta to make it through this movie. Because Watchmen, I was snoring like after the first hour, right?
You watch it, well, it's different. Yeah.
I'm looking online at AMC Showtimes, and I see that 7 p.m. on the Thursday before is an option, right? And I'm like, is this a typo? Is it
No,
something?
they do that.
So that's weird, right? So I was like, okay, I'd much rather go at 7 than midnight. I'll work the next day.
Yeah.
The day before, you can see it at like
So,
7, 8, 9, 10,
my
and then
question
12.
is, when did this become a thing? Because when Watchmen, when all the comic movies started pouring out, and they were doing the midnight releases. 7 was never an option, right? So now that it is an option, I roll up to the movie theater. There's no line, nobody's hanging out. We just walk right in, get great seats, and then we get out, and people are lining. 2.5 hours later, people are lining around the building for that midnight release. I'm having trouble understanding.
Well, I know
why would you go to the midnight one?
the midnight
Oh,
one,
chaos.
the midnight one. A lot of times they'll show you the new previews in front of it.
I don't care about.
I know, but
those.
some people do.
Again, they're all on YouTube anyway.
It's
Yeah, I
a-
know.
yeah, Joe, it's a recent thing. I would say.
Yeah,
in the
it's-
past.
No,
know
I
that.
remember
That's
Transformers 1. I remember went to see it, and they had like a 10 o'clock show, and it was a midnight show.
Yeah, no, they used to do. I remember the earliest was like 10,
10.
12, but there's
I've done one midnight showing ever.
Yep.
Ever.
Which one?
Indiana Jones and the
Wow.
Crystal
Oh, that
Skull.
was listen.
Skull.
Yeah.
Listen, I can sit through bad
As bad as
movies.
the vodka.
Wait, I can sit through bad
Kingdom of the
movies.
Skull, whatever that was.
No,
I can sit through bad movies sometimes. There's 2 movies in my life that I wanted to get up and walk out on. That was the first Hulk and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But I didn't walk out with
It was
somebody.
horrible.
We were so excited
Oh my
to
god.
go see. We went to Parsippany. We got there. It wasn't
Awful.
that packed. We got like 11 maybe. And we were already falling asleep before your thing. And by the time it was over, we were just like, I
I can't believe that just happened.
It was awful.
It was like murder.
They raped my childhood.
Awful.
It was horrible.
That was pretty bad.
It was beyond awful.
And then we were tired too, so it was just.
I was pissed. I was legitimately pissed off because I had to go to work at 6 a.m. the next day, and here I am
And
getting
someone
home
just
at
pooped on
4.
your childhood.
And
No, not even that. It just was a bad movie. It was awful.
It was horrible.
That movie was just awful.
What was worse, Shia LaBeouf or the aliens? That's a good question.
LaBeouf.
The aliens didn't bother me at all. I just
No,
the,
the aliens
you know what it
both-
was?
it
It
was a
felt
tie.
like the editing.
No,
I
LaBeouf
just
himself wasn't a bad actor. It was LaBeouf swinging from the vine.
Oh, that was awful.
Well, they make him like the tough, like the
Greaser.
guy
Yeah.
that it's
It
like
was stupid.
Indy's son.
Did you see that?
Kalima, Shakti Day. Which movie?
Temple Doom.
The fourth.
Yeah, of course. Come on now.
Well, you're not complaining about it. Did you like it?
No.
You betrayed Shiva.
Shiba.
We're short stack, bro. You left him out, right?
Short round.
Short round.
Short round. Is that his name?
Short
Yeah,
stack.
short-
Hey,
I gotta mix-
pancakes.
I
get
gotta
over
mix
here.
that with food. Come on, man. Give me a break.
But Joe goes to IHOP and asks for short round. Short round?
They bring out a little Chinese kid for him. There you go.
In the Yankee cap.
That movie was awful.
Pays his Hannah Montana
Awful.
wallet.
Well, the thing about episode 1 and like that were just so bad.
They were.
And that's
And they're
why.
doing a new one.
Knew what?
New Indiana
Indiana
Jones.
Jones movie.
As long as it's not Harrison Ford,
Who's
I don't care.
rumored to? Isn't Chris Pratt rumored to play Indy?
No, they didn't say they were going to replace them
I
yet.
think they missed a big opportunity, right? Same. You look at James Bond, right? So many people have played 007. I think you could have gotten away with that had they done it earlier with new people playing Indiana Jones. It's too late now. Right?
Oh yeah, it's too late.
So I think had you done that, there was an opportunity. It would have been tough, but there was an opportunity.
And now they play off the James Bond thing as it's just an identity, like a code name. It's always someone different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that's what they're kind of playing it off now in the new films. Is that like anybody can be James Bond? I don't. They
don't
explained
say.
it in one film. Yeah, because they've all got numbers, so technically, like. Just
I've
like,
never seen a James Bond movie. So
What a liar.
I swear to you, they don't interest me.
I only saw the Skyfall one, which was a good.
Oh, yeah.
It was a good movie.
Skyfall.
They don't interest me. I'm not
It was a
interested.
good movie.
I'm not going to see Mad Max. It doesn't interest me.
How do you not like Mad Max?
I didn't say I did not like it. It just doesn't interest me.
Oh man, Master Blaster run Bartertown.
Well done, sir.
It's not my movie. I don't know. I don't want to see
What's
it.
your favorite movie?
My favorite movie of all time is Jaws.
Jaws?
Jaws.
Jaws.
You
How do
can
you feel about Dose and Trace?
I saw it I was obsessed with it when I was a kid because I was going to SeaWorld at the time that they were making it and filming it.
Jurassic Park too. But
As
Jaws
bad as
3
bad,
is
Jaws
okay.
3 is awful, but I love it because I started as like a 6-year-old kid, like over and over and over again. So I love
And
it.
that's why I think Jurassic Park 2 is good.
And Jaws 2 isn't that bad.
Well, that's right.
No, 2 is good.
I'm
2
kind
is
of
a good
upset
film.
for this weekend because I hate horror movies. I love horror movies, but I hate horror movies. I can't watch them by myself because I'm legitimately scared.
I'll
And
say
it's-
it with you, Jen. I'm
Especially when I
scared,
go
too.
home and by myself, and it's whatever.
And you got that clown in the
But-
class.
And I deal with the clown in the closet. But this weekend they're remaking a movie again that just didn't need to be remade. A lot of 80s horror movies, they don't hold up. Poltergeist holds
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah,
We
it's
watched
great.
it a couple months ago. It holds
Oh,
up.
it's a great movie.
They're just
Craig T.
I've
Nelson.
never seen it.
Oh, it's
So
just-
you
it's
get
a
mad at me for
fantastic
never
horror
seeing
movie.
James Bond movies, but
It's
you never seen
legitimate
Poltergeist?
scary.
It's a series of movies that have spanned like
No.
30
You
years.
just
matter.
look at, you watch the first one. It's a legitimately scary movie, but also a legitimately good movie.
You know why? Because it's very simple. What's going on? There's nothing. It's like it feels real.
The first
Like
Friday
it's-
13 scared me when I saw it, and I was like 13.
Again, legitimately
Yeah,
scary, but also
legitimately
legitimate-
creepy movie.
Well, Poltergeist actually, it's Spielberg, but he wasn't allowed to direct it. But supposedly, like he
Had a lot to do with
did direct, like under the he helped out, and it really, I mean, like the
good
some of
movie.
the effects are a little bit wonky, but
Yeah, but
it's
They
it's
still
fine.
work. They,
Oh,
still,
That's
they
fine.
still work.
I saw it like 5 or 6 years ago again. I loved it. Children of the Corn, same thing, except for the Malachi thing at the end
Malachi.
with the
That's a creepy movie.
but that movie
I
itself,
saw
like
that as a kid, and anytime we
that-
drove
that-
past cornfields, I was like, we got to go fast.
not the cornfields.
Go.
When they're in the
Yeah.
diner and they like lock the doors, that always bothered me because it was just a regular, American diner.
I grew up in a town next to Shade. It was literally the name of the road was Shades of Death Road.
Oh yeah,
I mean, Shades of Death Road. It's scary as hell.
yeah. No, that movie, but it's I can watch it. There's certain the Insidious is coming out 3. 2 was really good.
Never saw Insidious.
2 was good.
I never watched it.
It's good.
I will say they did a good job with what was the first found footage movie?
Blair Witch.
Forget that. I hated Blair Witch.
Paranormal Activity.
Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, I never
The first
saw it.
Paranormal Activity was a good movie. It was a legitimately scary movie. I slept on my couch for about a good month after that with the lights on.
I remember going to see Paranormal Activity in the theater when it came out. I didn't know anything about it. I hadn't read anything online. All I had heard that it was based on true events, or that I was misled into thinking that it was real footage. So I watched the whole thing thinking that this was all real footage, and I was like, "Oh wow, this is genuinely scary. That was a pretty scary movie." And I was corrected by whoever I was with, saying, "Dude, it wasn't real." It was like, "Oh."
It still was a scary.
It was definitely
movie.
scary,
legitimate-
for sure.
and it wasn't just the jump cut scares. It was legitimately. It was a scary story.
Absolutely.
It was freaky. It was.
You know what? It's funny we were talking about with the movies and stuff. Remember with Scream? Scream came out in the theaters.
Mhm.
And
And it
the horror
didn't-
genre was dead.
Yeah, it didn't do anything, and then it went kind of away and everything, and then it started picking up, and they did a re-release,
And that's when
it got huge, and people were doing. I remember having so much fun. I mean, they don't really bother me, scary movies, and it's not scary, but I remember being in a packed theater and these girls are screaming and stuff, and it makes it so much more fun when
Yeah.
it's
The
like
atmosphere,
just
absolutely.
Oh, yeah, of
just
course.
For
screaming
sure.
and doing and.
Well,
The first 6 minutes of Scream in the theater, I changed my life.
There
I was
was-
like, wow.
I agree. There was so. All right, so we go back
Kill
there,
them
right?
all!
So we talk about why would you go to the theater. So there are some experiences.
Of course.
I still remember going opening night to The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
Packed theater because that was the perfect type of preview because all you saw was the little kid saying, "I see dead people."
Yeah.
It's a corny line now, whatever. But when you think about what that trailer was, I see dead people. I was like, oh, what's going on here? And I remember everybody at the end, and he drops the ring at the floor, and that's when everybody realizes Bruce Willis. By the way, spoilers: Bruce Willis is dead. And
Come on, Jay!
And Dumbledore died. But
Harry Potter.
I'm sorry. I don't know what that is.
But
I know Harry Potter.
He drops the ring. You realize it's dead, and you heard the entire theater go, "Whoa!"
That's cool. It's part of the experience, but you lose that now because everybody's like. Now the new thing is you see all the set footage now online, so you know what everything is. There's nothing fresh anymore. That's why I don't want to see anything else for Star Wars. I want to see it fresh.
Well, that's why I used to always watch those making of. They used to have them on HBO, and this was way back when. They still might do it, but this was like in the '90s. And again, going with Men in Tights, and I watched the thing, and everything was on it. And then when I saw the movie, it was like.
That's why you gotta watch it after you see the movie.
Yeah, like things. So now that's why I don't watch. I don't watch the trailers really. I don't watch. Anything.
I do watch the trailers, and because trailers are fun for me for certain ones. I have to say, I've never seen a reaction to a trailer like the last Star Wars.
Oh, it was.
Oh yeah.
You had people were literally giddy and like little kids again. My dad watched it, and he was like, he literally said, but. People were kids again. It really was.
Oh no, it was. I was like, you gotta be. The first trailer was like, okay, kind of cool. We see the X-wings. The new one, especially where we're home. Right. I was like, and I saw it, when we went to see Avengers 2, me and my wife, the trailer came up, and I was like this, and I said, okay, I went to get up. Allie goes, where are you going? I said, I'm going home. She said, I go, I saw what I needed to see. And she's like, what? She knew I was kidding, but she was like, I was like, that's like, I'll pay to see that in the big screen. You won't, because you're obsessed with Phantom Menace. So you don't understand it.
But when Chewie and Han come at the end, and it's just like, wow.
It
I
felt
don't even know
right.
What to say at this
It
point.
felt right. It felt right. So to go back, I know we kind of got off track here. The moral thing is the box office is the top 10, whatever. You can't go buy it anymore. So stop obsessing with like, oh, Avatar needs to be beat, and Titanic finally sank. Literally and figuratively.
Titanic,
you know what I mean? Because that wasn't supposed to be touched. And Avatar ran right by it.
It's
so
too soon.
It's like 1918.
1918.
No, 1911. It's when the Fenway opened. So 1912.
Movie on the Andrea Doria.
So anyways, relax on the numbers. Okay, if a movie makes $1 billion, it's a lot of money. So just enjoy it. Okay, watch all the money that Star Wars is gonna make, and you'll understand.
Or just watch the movie.
Yeah, so
unless you have a stake in the movie, and I can understand.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
Upset then.
And
or just go out and buy 1 billion tickets yourself, and then you can have your.
And then 20 years ago, there was not really an international market. It wasn't like that. Now internationally is bigger than U.S. domestic because it's just. China alone, it's all they can't go outside. They're inside all the time watching movies.
Not allowed to go outside.
No, the air is bad over there.
International politics.
No, being serious.
No,
the air is really bad. They're staying inside more, so they're going to the movies a lot more. They built theaters like crazy. China was never a big market for this.
Battling in the UFC.
Well, it was also a socialist country, so they didn't allow stuff in.
I know, but I'm just saying though, it opened up, and it's also they can't.
No,
the
Corey's
air.
right. Air's bad. They don't leave the house. The smog monsters come in and Godzilla's next.
Also because I know
I wouldn't go outside out there. Are you kidding me?
A lot of these action movies do really well overseas because there's no dialogue anyway, so it transfers very well.
Yeah.
There's no cultural
Everybody
differences.
understands an explosion.
Yeah,
Everyone
exactly.
gets what Vin Diesel's is saying about cars, even in Chinese.
There's only so many ways you can say I am Groot.
Yeah. On that note,
this podcast is clean.
So I want to thank you guys all for coming out. Joe, I don't know why you didn't talk that much. You always you don't talk. You like Patrick tonight.
What are you talking about? You guys have been laughing. That was a great time. Thank you. Great job.
Patrick talks?
I talked. I dipped in here and there. I was dipping in,
Toes first.
Come on, man. I can't talk all the time. You're the leader. We gotta
I just want.
Who elected Corey the leader?
I just want you to be part of it. That's all.
I was part of it, man.
Okay. All right.
When you go and review around the 30-minute mark, I start talking a little more.
Okay.
He warmed up.
Right? Yeah. We always gotta warm up.
I get it. I get it. Okay. Relax.
Test out the vocal cords.
I want to hear your outro.
So for Joe, Johnny, Nick, Jay, myself, Zapp Comics Radio Podcast, thank you for listening, and see you guys soon.
Have a good night.
All right.
Zapp Comics Radio Podcast.
Zapp Comics, play your podcast.